So, you know, today I came to the realization that people don't really understand how the world really works, the culture of everything, the simplicity of it all. How it was just everything that's here now was really just stolen. The culture, the laws, the way everything is done, we was doing it for centuries. But when you get into the quote-unquote religious books, you come to find out that it wasn't really a religion or a way to control people. It was documenting human existence from the time of being gods to the time of now, where we're just like the rest of the men on the planet. Religion is something to constrict or restrict, which was set to make man be restricted, or what I would say is the gods or the angels be restricted from their higher level of consciousness. And the only way that that can happen is to restrict their ability to obtain the knowledge to keep on living as higher consciousness beings. But we think that if we continue to follow the system as it is, which it's really not their system, it's our system that we're just neglecting and not paying attention to and not respecting. And if we was to respect it in its totality and for what it truly is, as the order that needs to be taken seriously upon this planet, we would be able to transcend the need for the material things that give us the spiritual, give us the equalness to the spiritual things that we once had. You know, there's nothing new under the sun. We daydreamed about Superman and Batman and Iron Man and Thor, Odin, Thoth, Osiris. These were real, human beings that their consciousness was on a higher level and they were closer to the Most High. The closer you are to the Most High, the more you're able to be like the Most High. But because our falling away from Him because of our neglect or our disdain for the culture because of the bastardization of it, as far as the way that these religious leaders and politicians conduct themselves in unrighteous manner, makes us less credible and further away from the Most High. But once you tell people these things on the level of, hey, we need law, we need order in order to conduct ourselves on this planet. Now, if somebody was to swindle me out of money, how and me being a righteous person, how do I get that money back without taking the law into my own hands and killing that person or destroying his life to where he can't survive anymore? How do we give every human being a job on the planet of 7 billion people, which they say? I'm not sure if that is, but I'm going to use it because I know that you guys know what that is. Of 7 billion people, giving them all the same opportunities that I have. or that a rich person have? And how do we equally tax everybody so that we can have the same abundance throughout the whole entire planet? See, these things can be remedied, but we don't want to remedy them because we think law and order comes from something that is not for us. Now, if everything is everything and everything has its upper and lower, obviously the law has its upper use and its lower use. In this state, we're using it in its lower use, where we are neglecting it, we're ignoring it, we're not giving it its proper respect. This is what the Kabbalah is ultimately teaching about in the duality. But you have to go further back in order to really understand the other aspect of God, which is the singularity, the oneness, which you take duality and you put it back together, and then you can figure out, okay, everything has its negative and positive, right? You might walk up and see an old man killing, or stabbing an old lady, and your first inkling is this person is doing something evil. But if you inquire of the man why he did such things, and he says she poisoned his family's food when he wasn't there, and he has evidence or video to prove it, do you feel the same, that he did something evil? This is just an example of how the universe works. But if we reject the duality of both sides, and to be able to look at it objectively and not subjectively, where we think that we have all of the answers, which we clearly don't, then we are neglecting the state of consciousness where the Most High dwells. So I posted a video on IG about the carnal and the spiritual. The carnal world, or this flesh world of material, is where it needs law because of the debased material or urges that the material world has, if you're not constantly searching for the higher level of things to be done. So there's rapists, there's pedophiles, there's murderers, there's swindlers, there's the nastiest things in the carnal world, and it needs laws. It says the laws are not made for the righteous, but those that will do evil. Right? Now, those laws have its place. Now you go to the spiritual level for those that will never do those type of things, but wants to see the prosperity of everyone or their kinsmen, and their laws would be of the conscious level, which is the spiritual realm, which comes from the Hermetic principles of the seven, where it's the gender, cause of effect, man is mind, polarity, rhythm. These things is what actually governs the physical world, the spiritual world, the universe in totality. But if you don't know these things, and you don't seek to endeavor to research these things, you would never ever know these things. You would only be in your base form, which is the carnal minded form. But you can't tell certain people these things. You can tell them, but unless somebody wants to truly know or understand what that level of understanding is, they will never perceive it, nor will they care to understand it. And I don't think it's everybody's responsibility to learn these things or inquire of it. I think that job is just for a select few. Just like everybody's not going to be a lawyer. Everybody's not going to be a truck driver. Everybody's not going to be a taxi driver. Everybody's not going to be an actor. Everybody's not going to be, a school teacher. Everybody's not going to be a politician. Everybody's not going to be a judge or a lawyer. Those people should always hone their craft. But if you're going to be a spiritual leader, you should hone your craft in the higher level of things in order to guide people in the way of the Most High. So law is very important. Law is very important to how we conduct ourselves in this realm. I'm sure that there is other realms and dimensions that is governed differently, but in this realm, in this state of consciousness, that's how it works. And another thing that also proves this, right, is the double slit experiment that they did, right? Them watching the double slit experiment, it made a two-strand dot system. When they wasn't paying attention to it, it made a wave symbol or pattern in the back. What that tells you is there's two things governing this, right? One is the material, which is only experienced through perspective and idea of such thing. Then the other is the melding of the universe, cause and effect. If you didn't put your cause or your effect into the universe for that thing to happen, then it wouldn't happen. That's where the wave comes in. Cause and effect. Your cause of looking at that thing affected what that matter did. This is the higher level of understanding of the universe. So me not looking into the world and not going into the world and putting my stamp of approval upon it also helps me mold the world, because those that I talk to, that it may be frequent or not frequent, I'm able to project, because they don't know who I am or what I'm doing or how I'm doing anything I do or what I'm really even talking about. But I know that every word is purposeful in its intention once you hear it. It makes you move in a totally different way. You may not think that it does, but it does. That is the higher level of things. So we can stay in our base form with the vampires and the reptilians. And when I say reptilians, I'm not talking about some lizard people, lizard type people. I'm just talking about people that live in a low vibration. We can stay among those people, or those that are seeking a higher level. You can create your own system of doing things, but your own system of doing things must have paperwork. It must have a structure to it, so that once we move into the inevitable future where we look back 100, 200, 300 years into the past, which would be in this time, we can have points of reference of how things was going and how we changed it, so that we don't delve in those type of things again. Of course, in 1 million, 2 million years from now, we might recycle into this paradigm again, because that's just the way that this whole thing works anyway. But the understanding of it in this time, in its purity, is the key. So, I'm Furious Black, and thank you for listening.